From Software is an esteemed name in video games, catapulted to the stratosphere through the success of the Souls series. It earned them a reputation for being highly competent action RPG makers, demanding an analogous sense of competency from players who are attempting to succeed in their Soulsborne games. Soulsborne is a name that bunches both the Souls series of games and the original title Bloodborne together, largely due to the apparent similarities that the latter shares with the former. And yet, on its own merits, Bloodborne shattered sales expectations, was nominated for and won a host of awards, and enjoys a great deal of critical acclaim on the whole. It's not been long since the release of Bloodborne, which launched before Dark Souls 3 did, the latter closing the book on the acclaimed Souls franchise. Such is the degree of love the game enjoys that demands for a sequel have often been made upon From Software. The company got themselves caught in a bit of a snafu after Easter eggs found in their PSVR title Durasane recalled Bloodborne, and fans took it to mean that a second title was in the works, with company president Hidetaka Miyazaki having to roll back speculation and hype. But what's all the fuss about? What makes Bloodborne so special? Bloodborne plays to the strengths and preferences of From Software, and that unique creative execution in playing to the company's sense of identity is such that it brought out the best of From Software as a studio, and encourages players to bring their best when they play Bloodborne. It's certainly hard not to think passion and a strong sense of internal identity within From Software itself are strong drivers for what makes Bloodborne and the other Western fantasy-inspired titles made by From Software succeed, as seen by From Software working on a variety of titles that employ a Western fantasy aesthetic. This isn't something seen only in the Souls series, Bloodborne, or Elden Ring, but also in some of their earliest titles, such as the King's Field series and Shadow Tower. For those unaware, From Software also has a long history of working on mech-related titles, with the first Armored Core dating back to 1997, and the latest game being released in 2013. Besides that, From Software has also made Metal Wolf Chaos, Frame Gride, and the Another Centuries episode series. From Software also made their own RPGs, such as Evergrace and its prequel Forever Kingdom, and the first and second Lost Kingdom games. As we can see by looking at the library of games that From Software has worked on, not only are they willing to give ideas they believe in a chance, but they tend to have strong ideas about design sensibilities or particular genres that they like, and visions that they want to express using certain aesthetic or gameplay genres. Elden Ring itself, announced at this past E3, was brought about by Hidetaka Miyazaki approaching George R.R. Martin, the author of the A Song of Ice and Fire books, to work on a game. Martin readily agreed to working on the project, and the rest is history, with Martin doing the heavy lifting with regards to world building, and Miyazaki using these ideas to craft the game's story. Miyazaki also uses Elden Ring as an evolution upon the Souls series of games, featuring new mechanics such as horseback riding, but also foregoing towns busy with people and replacing them with ruins. It's just the sort of example of an alternate take on a genre or formula, as Bloodborne could be seen to be in comparison to the Souls franchise. As for Bloodborne itself, it has plenty of strong traits that have helped it to succeed within the minds of the gaming public. A particular standout is the extremely strong execution of a sense of aesthetic. Compared to Dark Souls, Bloodborne shies more away from fantasy and adopts something more akin to horror. The enemies and bosses are less fantastical and more grotesque. Think of Amygdala, Ebrietas, Daughter of the Cosmos, Rom the Vacuous Spider, and Vicar Amelia. Each of the boss fights serve as a unique test imposed upon the player, to both study their opponent and to make use of what they bring with them to the fight, even if that includes a nice amount of blood vials. All of the grotesque enemies, and even the concept of a plague that has transformed the people of Yharnam into monsters, add up to an atmosphere that keeps players on edge, to say nothing of the environments. While it's easy to feel unnerved as you travel to different locations throughout Bloodborne, such as the Forbidden Woods, Yargul, and the Upper Cathedral Ward, as you progress through Bloodborne, there are times in which the game gets scarier to play through, if not more difficult. The soundtrack and sound design certainly don't help players feel any more at home when playing through the game either. The world of Bloodborne is uninviting and dark, heavily foreboding. Bloodborne was also meant to play significantly differently from the Souls games too. Despite superficial similarities in gameplay, Bloodborne is much faster paced, more action-oriented, more offense-oriented. Shields aren't as useful in Bloodborne as they are in the Souls games, and if you get hit by an enemy, you can regain some of that health back by counterattacking within a certain period of time. time after being hit. The game also has a handful of other added features that make the game fun to play through, such as the ability to choose your own build to proceed through the game with, the option for multiplayer play, and the multitude of secrets to uncover. Bloodborne will ask a lot from you, but it will also allow you to accomplish your goals with a degree of freedom and express yourself as you play. The sense of identity that runs through From Software and brought about Bloodborne is the same as what is asked of players in seeking to have a good time with Bloodborne. And that concludes our video on what made Bloodborne such a special game. As we've seen, From Software isn't willing to let franchises or IPs overstay their welcome, and if they feel that there's nothing to contribute creatively or that there's a sense of completion to that franchise, then their work on that IP is concluded. It's hard to think that even amongst the most intense of Souls series fans, there are those who could want Souls series games to be made for eternity. But with fresh alternate takes on the Souls formula in the form of Elden Ring and Bloodborne, From Software is treating and challenging players with new experiences that demand from and engage their fans. What makes Bloodborne different or better if you're willing to make the argument from the Souls series? Would you prefer that a second Bloodborne game exists? Or do you think that certain gameplay design ideas and experiences or creative expressions on the part of From Software are going to be seen in different future projects that we see the Japanese developer take on? Do you think that there's a believable likelihood to a second Bloodborne game happening? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, please hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to switch on the notifications bell icon next to it. That way you'll never miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching.